Back in the old days, in a little village tucked in the mountains, there was this guy named Lee. He was a good guy, always helping out the elders, making people laugh, just a normal village guy. He wasn't the smartest or the strongest, but he had a good heart. Everyone in the village knew him as the kind of guy who'd share his last meal if someone needed it. But Lee had one problem. He was a hopeless romantic, and that's what got him into trouble. It all started during the harvest season. Everyone was busy in the fields gathering rice and vegetables. Lee was no different. But one evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains and the sky turned a soft orange, Lee saw her. She was sitting by the edge of the woods, wearing a beautiful dress that shimmered like moonlight. Her long black hair flowed down her back, and her smile was the kind that could stop your heart. Lee had never seen her before, which was weird, because in a village like theirs, everyone knew everyone. "Hey you," he called out, walking toward her. "You're new around here." The girl just smiled and nodded. "My name is Yua," she said softly, her voice like the wind through the trees. "Now you know how it is with love at first sight. It's like a spell, something that grabs hold of you and won't let go." Lee didn't even think to ask where she'd come from or why she was out there alone. All he cared about was that smile, that face. From that day on, Lee couldn't stay away from her. Every evening after finishing his chores, he'd sneak away into the forest to see her. They'd sit under the trees, talking and laughing like they'd known each other forever. He felt alive when he was with her, like the world was brighter and nothing else mattered. But something wasn't right. At first, it was little things. Yua never came to the village, no matter how much Lee begged her to. She always said she preferred the quiet of the mountains, and she never ate or drank anything. Lee would bring her snacks or fresh water, but she'd just smile and shake her head. "I'm not hungry," she'd say. Then there was how she seemed to know things she shouldn't, like the time she warned Lee not to take a certain path home because something bad will happen. Sure enough, a landslide had blocked the path the next day, but the village elders started noticing that something was off about Lee. He looked pale, like he hadn't slept in weeks. His hands shook when he worked, and his appetite was gone. His friends teased him, saying he must have fallen in love. But Lee didn't laugh with them. He just smiled, a weak, tired smile, and kept to himself. One night, Lee's parents had enough. "We're worried about you," his mother said. "You've been acting strange, and you're not taking care of yourself." "I'm fine," Lee insisted. "Just busy," his father frowned. "You've been sneaking off to the mountains, haven't you? What's out there?" Lee hesitated, then blurted out, "I've been seeing someone. Her name is Yua. She's beautiful, kind, everything I've ever wanted." After explaining to them everything about her, his parents exchanged a look. His mother's face turned pale. "Lee," she said slowly, "you've been spending time with a spirit." Lee laughed nervously. "What? No way. Yua is real." "She's not a spirit." But his parents didn't laugh. His father grabbed his arm. "Lee, listen to me. Spirits can take the form of beautiful women to lure men away. The more time you spend with them, the more they drain your life. You have to stop seeing her." Lee didn't believe them. How could he? Yua was so real to him. She wasn't some ghost. She was the love of his life. That night, Lee snuck out again to meet her. He couldn't stay away, no matter what his parents said. He found her waiting for him in their usual spot under the big tree by the stream. She looked as perfect as ever, her smile lighting up the night. "Yua," he said, sitting beside her. "My parents think you're a spirit." Her smile faltered just for a second, but then it was back. "Do you think I'm a spirit?" she asked, tilting her head. "No," Lee said quickly. "Of course not. But can you tell me something? Why won't you come to the village? Why don't you eat or drink?" Yua looked down at her hands. "You wouldn't understand," she whispered. "But I love you, Lee. That's all that matters. Right?" Lee wanted to believe her. He really did. But the nagging doubt wouldn't leave his mind. A few nights later, Lee decided to meet Yua deeper in the mountains. She had always told him not to go further into that part of the forest, especially if she wasn't with him, saying it was dangerous. But he wanted to see where she lived. He thought that if he just went that way, he would encounter her village or something. So, despite his better judgment, he went. The air felt colder than usual that night. The trees seemed taller now. Lee's heart was pounding, but he told himself it was just nerves. Then he saw it. At first he thought it was just a shadow, but as it got closer, he realized it was something much worse. A figure was stumbling toward him, its movements jerky and unnatural. The smell hit him next, a mix of rot and decay that made his stomach churn. It was a corpse, a walking, rotting corpse of a man. Its skin was gray and peeling, and its empty eye sockets seemed to stare right at him. Lee froze. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The thing let out a low, creepy sound and started coming faster. That snapped Lee out of it. He turned and ran as fast as his legs could carry him, the sound of the corpse's uneven footsteps right behind him. He didn't stop until he reached the village. Bursting into his house, he slammed the door shut and collapsed on the floor, gasping for air. His parents rushed to his side. "What happened?" his mother cried. Lee could barely speak. He then told them about the corpse chasing him. The next morning, Lee's parents called the village shaman. The shaman listened to them, nodding slowly. "He's lucky to be alive," he said. "Spirits, even kind spirits like the woman, are dangerous. They don't mean to hurt you, but their world and ours aren't meant to mix. The longer he stays with her, the weaker he'll get. And the evil he encountered last night, that's just the beginning. That corpse in the mountains wasn't just a bad spirit. It carried a curse, and it latched onto him because his connection to the spirit woman left him vulnerable." Lee's mother burst into tears. "Please save him," she begged. The shaman nodded. "It will take time and a lot of strength, but we'll do everything we can." The ritual went on for hours. The shaman chanted and beat his drum. The chicken was sacrificed. Its blood spread on the ground in a circle around Lee's bed. Lee was too weak to understand what was happening, but he could feel the air around him changing, growing more and more restless. In the middle of the ritual, something strange happened. The room grew cold, and a soft, familiar voice whispered, "Lee!" Everyone froze. The shaman raised his drum, his eyes narrowing. "She's here." Lee's parents exchanged a look, but they didn't dare say a word. The shaman closed his eyes and spoke. "Spirit woman, show yourself if you truly care for this man." The air shimmered, and suddenly, there she was. Yua. Her dress seemed dimmer than before, and her face was full of sorrow. She floated just above the ground, her hands clasped tightly together. "I never meant to hurt him," Yua said, her voice trembling. "I love him. I only wanted to be with him, but I see now that our worlds can't mix. He's dying because of me." The shaman's face softened. "If you truly love him, you must let him go." Yua nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know. I've already made my decision." The shaman tilted his head. "What decision?" "I want to reincarnate," Yua said. Her voice broke as she spoke. "I can't stay here anymore. Not if it means hurting Lee. I want to leave this world and come back as someone who can love him without causing pain." Lee, weak as he was, tried to speak. "Yua, don't." But his voice was barely a whisper. Yua floated closer to him, kneeling by his side. "I'm sorry, Lee. I never wanted this, but this is the only way to save you. Maybe one day, in another life, we can find each other again." The shaman nodded. "Reincarnation is a rare choice for spirits, but if you're willing, I can guide you through it. It will take everything you have." Yua wiped her tears and straightened up. "I'm ready." The shaman began another ritual, this one more intense than the last. He chanted louder, his drum beat faster. The air in the room felt like it was vibrating. Yua closed her eyes, her form flickering like a candle in the wind. As the ritual reached its peak, Yua turned to Lee one last time. "Goodbye," she said softly. "I'll find you again. I promise." With that, her figure dissolved into tiny specks of light that drifted upward and disappeared. The moment she was gone, Lee felt a rush of warmth flood his body. His breathing steadied, and the color began to return to his face. The shaman wiped his brow and sat back, exhausted. "It's done," he said. "Her sacrifice saved you." Lee's health slowly returned after that, but he was never the same. He stopped going to the mountains and spent most of his days quietly working in the fields. People said he became a different person, like part of him had died that night. But sometimes on quiet nights, he would look up at the stars and wonder where she was, if she remembered him, if their paths would ever cross again in another life. And in those moments, he would smile, even if it hurt. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.